Hey there, today we're going to talk about some of my favorite topics that we've covered so far in Fishing 101. So first up, we have blanching, which is just boiling water, throwing something in there, typically vegetables, and then pulling them out, shaking them dry, and putting them straight in an ice bath. Blanching is typically done in order to stop enzymes actions that would otherwise cause loss of flavor, color, or texture. What this means is if we don't blanch, where if we just boil our vegetables and then leave them in there too long or take them out and let them hang out warm instead of throwing them into an ice bath, uh, we can lose some flavor and texture, which ends up tasting just mushier and not enjoyable. Blanching also helps us preserve the color of the food. You'll see across these pictures here, our broccoli is able to stay bright and green. Had we not blanched, they'll get mushy and soft and maybe a little bit browner and yellow. Our second topic here that we've covered in Nutrition 101 is emulsions, which here we're looking at mayonnaise as an example. So mayonnaise is a prime example of an oil in water emulsion, which is one of the two types of emulsions that exist. The other one, of course, is water and oil. So when we say that mayonnaise is an oil in water emulsion, what we're saying is that there are tiny droplets of oil that you can see in this picture that are being beat into this mayonnaise mixture. Tiny drops of oil that are suspended in otherwise what is a mixture that's primarily water. Whereas for the reverse, when we're talking about a water and oil mixture, that's small droplets of water that are dispersed and emulsified into oil. Our third topic here is one of my favorites, the Maillard reaction. Chemically, we're taking the amino acids broken down from proteins, as well as sugar, and then applying high levels of heat in order to get this browning that we typically like to see in our food, golden brown, nice and crispy, nice and brown food just has a very distinct flavor that we tend to enjoy a lot. So go Maillard reaction. Next up, we have fermentation. This can get pretty broad, but generally we're talking about uh, in a controlled environment, typically without any presence of oxygen. We're talking about allowing bacteria to grow and consume sugars in some form of food. So one such bacteria might be lactic acid bacteria, which produces lactic acid after consuming sugars. And so that would be in something like, say, yogurt here on the left. Another example of a bacteria would be Actobacter bacteria, which can produce acetic acid through fermentation. So that might be something that we would see in a kombucha, for example. And lastly, we have moisture content and water activity. This is a very, very general topic. When we say moisture content, mathematically, we're talking about the difference between the wet mass and the dry mass of a given object divided by the total wet mass. So basically, how much of a wet object is comprising of moisture as like a ratio. So, but generally, wetter foods are going to have higher moisture content. And then water activity is how much we're going to see this moisture moving about in our food and with the environment around it. So a higher water activity generally is not something that would lend to a food being shelf stable. So when we're talking about beef jerky, we would want lower moisture content and lower water activity. You can see on the left or on the right, sorry, there's a little bit of a white film or like spiderweb kind of vibe over the jerky. That could potentially be mold, which would be no good. And that would be due to our beef jerky making process not properly taking care of the high level of moisture content of beef and not lowering the water activity in that beef. The higher the water activity gets, generally we're going to see faster movement of microorganisms such as bacteria and yeast, and then we could potentially see mold growth, which is again no good. And that's it. Those are five of my favorite and most interesting and delicious topics that we have covered so far in Fishing 101.